Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite cushioning setups to play in right now, right? So the topic of cushion is very subjective, right? So I've had people where they don't like Zoom. It's a little too much sometimes. I've had people that love Zoom. I've had people where they want like the softest cushion ever. I've had people where they want like total response from the cushion, so like literally no compression. They just want something where they feel very fast and there's no lag from the cushioning setup. So it's very subjective, so I guess I'll tell you guys what I want, you know, like my ideal cushioning setup, and it changes from time to time as far as like what I like, you know. Sometimes I want something super bouncy, sometimes I want a lot of impact protection, and sometimes I want something where it's a little bit more responsive, you know. So it changes from time to time, but I'm gonna tell you guys some really nice cushioning setups, and it's also a pretty damn hard to categorize cushioning setups, you know, because like there's forefoot, there's heel, and like is it soft, is it bouncy, like how do you categorize everything? So I'm just gonna tell you guys like on this list like how it feels. And if it's like a cushioning setup that you like, then definitely go ahead and check the shoe out. If you guys want to get any of these shoes on this list, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the Leaning Wow All City 9. Yeah, super long name, but the cushioning setup is so damn nice, right? So I'm still kind of testing it out, but I've been playing in it and it's phenomenal. The cushioning setup is super soft. It's using a full length cloud foam, and then in the forefoot there is a boom pod, right? So boom, they've used it in the Ushuai 13 Premium and also in the Wow 8. It's very bouncy. It's pretty similar to Boost, but I would say it's actually bouncier. And like in that forefoot, you can definitely feel the boom pod, and then in the heel, there's a good amount of compression from the cloud foam, which feels nice. Impact protection is phenomenal, especially on heel strikes. And then when you're like kind of running, you know, kind of I guess like sprinting down the court, when you're sprinting, you're mostly on your forefoot, right? So as opposed to I guess like jogging where you're like going with your heel. So when you're like sprinting down the court, you can feel the boom pod. It's bouncy, it's nice, and it's low to the ground. Like I wouldn't say it's the best court feel, but it's low to the ground. The cushioning setup is super nice in that shoe. All right, next, as you guys all know, is the KD13 with the full length Zoom stroll. I mean, any shoe with a full-length Zoom stroll I'm gonna like, you know. It's just it gets a little too bouncy at times, you know. Sometimes it's a little too much for me, so I like to like cut it back and like go to something else. But a plus about Zoom is that Zoom is very durable, you know. Foam, a traditional foam, or I guess most foams or all foam in general, like they compress and they lose elasticity, you know. So it gets less bouncy, gets less soft over time. But Zoom, on the other hand, is just a plastic bag filled with air. You know what I'm saying? So unless it pops, it'll last a lot longer. So the durability of Zoom is a lot better than foam. It's also like a lot bouncier. Like I've never felt a foam that's bouncier than Zoom. So it's right underneath your foot because they're replacing the strobo board, and it's really bouncy. So obviously if you don't like that, then stay away from the KD13 or any full-length Zoom strobo setups. But if you like bounce and you want ultimate bounce, then it's a great setup to get. Court feel, I would say, is pretty good. I would say it's like actually average. One thing that I don't like about it though is that the heel is a little too, it's not super clunky, but it's a little clunky, or a little bit clunkier than I would like, because there's no midsole. The outsole actually comes up and cages the entire heel, which kind of sucks. But other than that, it's a great cushioning setup. Next, we got the Nike PG5. It's a lot mellower than the PG4. So if you tried the PG4 on and you thought it was a little too soft or a little too much, then the PG5 is probably a very good option, or a very good medium between, I guess, like a shoe that has nothing and I guess the PG4. So that's what the PG5 is. The foam is still really soft and it compresses a lot, but then it still uses that full-length air strobo unit, which is right underneath your foot. And it's not super soft and you can't feel it like crazy like the PG4. So it's actually a nice kind of like mellow cushioning setup where if you want to feel just a little bit of softness and just a little bit of like bounce, then the PG5 is a great cushioning setup. Also, it's a lot lower to the ground than the PG4. So court feel, I would say, is really good in the PG5, especially also comparing it to the KD13. Impact protection is good. It's slightly soft. I would say it's more on the responsive side, which is a good thing if you want like total responsiveness from your cushion. All right, next is a pretty interesting shoe as far as cushion, but yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. So, and that's the Why Not 0.4. The heel cushion is kind of ass though. The heel, if you do a lot of heel strikes or you want a nice heel setup, the 0.4, you should probably stay away from it. But if you want something crazy in the forefoot, then get the 0.4. It's a double stacked zoom unit in the forefoot, and I thought at first, I was like, I wasn't like super excited about it, especially since they made the zoom unit smaller compared to the 0.3, but it's actually very bouncy. There's a lot of compression, and court feel, I would say, is really good in the forefoot, and then it gets really high in the heel. So the offset is very high. So that's nice if you want kind of like a shoe that kind of keeps you on your toes a lot. But I wouldn't say it's like the most stable shoe, especially since there's really no outrigger, but I guess that's kind of going off on the tangent. It's not cushion at that point, but impact protection is really good in the forefoot, just not in the heel. And it's super bouncy. So if you want a nice forefoot setup, the 0.4 is a nice option. And same thing goes for the Jordan 35. The Jordan 35, I would say it's a softer heel than the Why Not 0.4 though. There's a little bit more compression. I'll also say the court feel is better in the Jordan 35. And also I would say it's just as bouncy as the Why Not 0.4 in the forefoot, but it's the zoom unit covers the entire forefoot, pretty much the same size as the Kyrie 7 Zoom Turbo unit. So if you want something crazier than the Why Not 0.4 as far as like the surface area in the forefoot goes, then the Jordan 35 is a great option. All right, next is the LeBron 18. I really like playing the LeBron 18. It's definitely the craziest cushioning setup on this list, but I enjoyed it because it's just super fun and very, very bouncy to play in. It is pretty unstable. Maybe that's why LeBron's not playing it as much. I don't know what the reason is. He's been playing the LeBron Ambassador 13 a lot lately. And I guess like the LeBron 7s, but not his actual shoe, the LeBron 18. So I don't know, like I wish he would tell us the reason why, but anyways, yeah, so just watch out for that. But and also if you want something crazy, this is a great shoe to get. But if you don't want something crazy, like you want something a lot mellower, then stay away from the LeBron 18 like the plague, because there's a crazy amount of compression from the heel unit, the Air Max unit in the heel, and it's full length zoom. It's super freaking bouncy underneath your foot. It's very high up off the ground. And impact protection, you get maximum impact protection. Like your feet are not gonna hurt when you're landing, so that's a good thing. And also I guess it kind of helps you jump, if you're trying to get like a little bit more of a vertical. I feel like it like just helps. I don't know if it's a fact that it actually helps with your vertical, but like when I have it on, it just feels like I feel a little bit more springy, you know what I'm saying? But I guess the bad things are it's unstable, it's a little too much, it's not totally responsive, and court feel is not good in that shoe. But other than that, it's a really fun cushioning setup to play in. All right, next is the Adidas Dame 7, and it's more cushioning setup in the heel, so it's using full length light strike, very, very soft in the heel, especially when you first get it, but light strike does bottom out pretty quickly. So in the heel, after breaking it in, it gets a little bit more stiff, but it's still pretty damn soft. Impact protection, especially for heel strikes, is really nice. But one thing that sucks about it is that there's really nothing in the forefoot. So if you want something in the forefoot, then stay away from Dame 7. Court feel is good. It's kind of like the 0.4 where the forefoot is pretty damn low to the ground, but the heel is a little bit higher. So you get an offset. It's nice if you want to like be on your toes a lot, but it just doesn't feel like super stable when the heel is like that high. So just keep in mind for that. But other than that, the Dame 7 has a nice cushioning setup. And pretty much same thing goes with the GH2. I would say the Alti Flash in the forefoot is a little bit softer. You can feel the cushion in the forefoot more than the Dame 7. but it's still like not that much. The heel though, on the other hand, is super soft. It's slightly bouncy, good impact protection for heel strikes, but also you're low to the ground. I wouldn't say the heel is super high up off the ground like the 0.4 or the Dame 7. So court feel is better, and I guess the offset is a little bit more even. But the cushioning setup in the GH2 is really nice, and I really like Alti Flash. All right, last but not least is a shoe that I did not expect to be on this list, but it is the UA Spawn 3, and Under Armour is never on good cushions list because Under Armour, they want like total responsiveness, I guess, from like whoever designs the shoes or whatever. They just want like really like responsive ball shoes, and I guess like impact protection is good as far as like comparing it to like just really stiff Phylon midsoles, but it's never really been like a soft like bouncy setup as of like over the last couple of years. I guess besides like the original clutch fit drive with the full length micro G, which was super nice, but everything else has been like kind of lackluster. But in comes the UA Spawn 3, and the Spawn 3 is right there. It's super nice, you know. Court feel is really good. It's a little unstable because of the shape on the lateral side, which I would change. But other than that, it's bouncy. It has a nice firm bounce. It's not like crazy bouncy, but it has a nice subtle bounce, which is nice in the heel as well as in the forefoot. The underfoot cushioning is also really nice. It's soft, it's comfortable, impact protection is great, and it just has a nice blend of softness and bounce and all that. So yeah, the UA Spawn 3 is a great option. And also, I guess we'll throw in the Nike Renew Elevate. The Renew Elevate is a great option. It pretty much feels really similar to the Spawn 3, but it bottoms out a little bit quicker than the Spawn 3. And also, I guess the Renew Elevate is cheaper. It's like 80 bucks versus the Spawn 3, which I think is like 100 bucks. And I guess like we can throw in the Curry 8 in there, but like I don't think it was like great. You know, it's a good cushioning setup, you know, especially comparing it to like really crappy cushioning setups, but it didn't really stand out that much to me. Like there's not a whole lot of bounce. It's just like kind of soft in the heel, and I guess impact protection is pretty good. Court feel is really good in there. So I guess the Curry 8 is kind of like a consolation. But other than that, that's pretty much the list of my favorite cushioning setups that you can get right now. If I missed anything, or if you disagree with the list, tell us what you think should be in the list down in the comment section below. And again, if you guys want to copy any of these shoes, I'll leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.